Hello, my name is Ashish and welcome to my video series Learning Rust Programming. In previous video, we learned about mutable, immutable variables and const types in Rust. Today, we are going to learn more about variable bindings in Rust. In Rust, variable bindings have scope and are constrained to live in a block of curly braces. If you are familiar from any programming languages like Java, Go, then you would know that curly braces define the scope for the variables defined inside the block. Let's look at the code. So let's write outer block variable. Then so this is the curly braces. Inside that we have inside block variable. Now if I try to access both variables outside, clearly I should be able to access outer block variable. And if I try to access variable inside the block, then I will get, yeah. So you can see it's the compiler giving me error at the compile time itself that cannot find the value inside block of the scope. So this clearly this inside block variable is not in the scope. But if I try to use this variable inside the block, then it will allow me to use this variable. So it's running successfully. Now you can always use variable shadowing in Rust like we have seen in previous videos. Like in the same example, if I change the variable name as shadow variable, and inside that again I use the same name for the variable. So this is allowed. So you can see inside variable, although I have used same name for both variables in different scope, I can use both variables as it is. Now one of the rule in Rust while declaring the variable is you can choose to initialize variable later, but before you use that variable in your program, you have to initialize it. Otherwise, you will get an error. For example, if I do something like this, I have variable a and then I have another variable x inside curly braces scope, and then I have a equal to x star 3 or maybe 2. Then in println, what I'm going to do is I'm trying to access, although I have initialized this variable inside the block. Let me save this. So it should be small x. Yeah. So no problem. So I can run this program and see the output as twice of 3, that is 6. But if I declare one more variable here and I just declare it, I will not initialize it. And if I try to use that variable, then I'm going to get compile time error. So it is saying that, yeah. So annotation, so it is asking me to initialize this because it doesn't know the type. Even if I give some type, okay. If I give the type, then still it is not letting me use it because use binding B isn't initialized. So I'm supposed to. So one of the thumb rule in Rust is before you use that variable, you need to initialize this variable. Otherwise, we'll get an error. While shadowing, if outer block variable is declared as mutable. So suppose if I declare, so let's come to shadowing part. I will define this shadow variable as some value 5, and inside this, okay. So here what I'm going to do is my outside, the variable in the outside scope is mutable, and variable inside the block is immutable. By default, it's immutable, right? So if I try to, and let me change the value of this variable also. Let's make it some another value 10. And if I try to print this, then obviously it's going to print shadow var. No issues with this. Okay. Now question is, can I change the value of shadow var here? Let's try it. If I save it, so you can see this feature is called as freezing. So if outer block variable is declared as immutable, but inside block same name variable is declared as immutable, then data bound to a variable that is 10 is said to be frozen inside that block. So here inside that block, this frozen data can't be modified until the immutable binding goes out of the scope. So if this variable will go out of the scope here outside of this block. So I should be able to modify this variable outside the block. So here I'm allowed to change this variable 10 and 8. So likewise, if I make this variable as mutable, sorry, immutable, and inside the block, the variable, same name variable inside the block is mutable, then I'm not allowed to change the variable name outside the block, but inside is allowed. Okay, so you can see it's not giving me any error and it is printing it. So that's it from this video. Thanks for watching. Please share, like, subscribe this video if you are liking this content. Thank you.